The goal with charting is to separate the signal from the noise. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Money Flow Stock Market Review and Forecast. I'm your host, Dr. BJ Love, and I'll be bringing you today's update for Monday, September 29, 2025. Major averages higher for the second straight session. The major averages extend their gains for a second day, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average opened lower. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq opened higher on strength in the tech sector. Cannabis stocks drifted higher, including Tilray moving 60.87%, Aurora ACB moving 28.9%, and Canopy CKG moving 17.16% after a report that the White House could ease restrictions on CBD and Medicare. The major averages finished well off of their highs, with the Dow Jones Industrial closing up 69 points and finishing at 46,316, while the S&P 500 added 17.51 points and finished at 6,661. The Nasdaq gained 107 points, finishing at 22,591. Breadth was positive, which is the heartbeat of the market. The VIX gained 0.83 points and closed at 16.12. And as we reiterate every broadcast, that as long as the VIX stays below the threshold of 20, historically, the market tends to grind higher, and that is what we have been noticing. So that is a very good gauge of how the market will tend to move. Crude oil prices slipped $2.52 and closed at $63.20 a barrel. Gold prices added $48.60, a new high. They keep getting higher and higher. Gold is on fire anyway, and finished at $3,857.60 an ounce. Silver prices were up 87 cents and closed at $47.21 an ounce. Bitcoin closed at 114,300, up from the previous day. So let's dive right into these charts so we can get a pictorial view of what's really happening in these markets. And we're going to go to our foregrid, which helps us to navigate with calmness, confidence, and clarity the long-term direction of the market. We have the major indices, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial, as well as the Nasdaq Composite and the Russell 2000 on a weekly chart. And this is our long-term chart. And as we always say on the broadcast, long-term charts tell the story of where the market's trajectory is heading. Long-term charts navigate. Short-term charts matriculate. So we're going to go ahead and begin with the S&P 500. And as you can see, we have a green background. If you've been with us for a while, you know that we have a proprietary software that helps us to navigate these markets with, again, time-tested methods and indicators that helps us to navigate. The green background. Green background is moving upward. Each one of these price bars represents 1 week of time, and you can see it is above a rising moving average. And anytime we have prices above a rising moving average, that lets us know that the probability, very high probability of these rising prices will continue for the next or the near term, as we call it, the next 30 days. That is the S&P 500. Next, we're going to go and move to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We have a green background, lets you know market posture is bullish. Each one of these price bars represent 1 week of time in the stock market. We did have a new high of 46,714 and 27, and it has since back down to the present closing price of, 46,316 dollars and 7 cents. Prices are above a rising moving average, and our confirming indicator is the MACD that lets us know that we should, high probability of about 90%, continue to grind higher with this long-term chart. Moving on to the NASDAQ composite, same scenario. Prices above a rising moving average. Our confirming indicator, the MACD, the moving average convergent divergent, lets us know that this uptrend is not over yet. We still, even though we see a little bit of a slowdown, we still have a high probability of higher prices moving on down to the Russell 2000. This is our weekly chart. Remember, long-term charts dominate. Short-term charts fluctuate. So this is our long-term view of the Russell 2000. So all four of our major indices are pointing in a long-term posture of being bullish, right? So let's see what's going on with the sectors. We always do a top-down analysis. Now we're going to move into our sector analysis, and let's see what we have here. What are the strongest sectors? We want to understand that. So we're going to S&P 500 sector analysis, and let's do it. Where we are? Where are we? We're a sector spike. So we see that the XME, bam, we're going to move into another chart visual. So we're going to go to our what we call the foregrid. Where are you, foregrid? My, where are you tonight? And here we are. Call it the triple screen. Let's go, baby. That is our, and we're going to go into our weekly view and our daily view. So this is our weekly view. And we have here the TQQQ. This is another way of playing the NASDAQ composite, right? And it gives you, rather than paying $6,600, you can pay $102. And we saw that it gave us a signal here in May when it was 68.21. Since then, it has moved up to a high of 105 and continuing to drive higher. We also look at the QQQJ. Where else can you get all this free information on all these different indices that give you the opportunity to double your money every year? Look at where we're at. We're at, as of 5/5, we got the signal on the TQQQ, which tracks the NASDAQ 100 and also the NASDAQ composite, and it has been going up, 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 ever since May, the week of May 5th, 2025, hit a high of 36, and now we're kind of like leveling off at this $35.78. So there's another avenue where you don't have to come out of your pocket with $100 a share or $6,000 a share. You can use the QQQJ, which is the junior, and tracks the NASDAQ 100 for about 1/3 the price. Wow, what a bargain. And we like this a lot as we read that the XLK, or the tech sector, led the market higher today. So what we like to do is to give our listeners or audience very good information. We like the gold sector, or XME, the metal sector. We like of course, the tech sector. We like the financial sector. We like the consumer discretionary sector. And we like the communication sector. So there's some very good stocks that are really, really moving in these strong sectors that our system has detected and given us the various companies that are really, really moving in these sectors. So we're going to start with the communication sector. And what we have in the communication sector is DALN. DALN. Come on. And as you can see, it broke out here on heavy volume in July of this year, actually 7/7. And since then, the breakout, which closed at that time at 898, it is right now at 1698. There's a doubling of your money since July of 2025 up until present time here in October of 2025. Our system detected that, and we are involved and invested in that and doing well. Now we look at XLY. That is the sector with the company called BZUN. It broke out, gave us a signal to buy in September, first week in September. It closed at that particular time at 358, got all the way up to 498, and now is leveling off a little bit. So we are quite pleased with that particular investment. And now we're going to look at XLK. We're going to look at, there's so many in the XLK, or the technology sector, but we're going to take a very good look at VERI. And as you can see, it gave us a signal to buy on very heavy volume during the month of July, when it, excuse me, closed at $2.60. It has since hit a high of 643. So that's doubling, almost tripling in your money between July and the very present. Now, before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we get our gold stocks in here. Silver has just been on fire. Gold has been on fire. And we want to look at a gold stock, which is very near and dear to my heart, is KGC. Where else are you going to get free information that gives you information on these top-notch stocks that double so quickly? Here is got the buy signal here at 24. I'm sorry, at $15. It has since rose up to almost $25. So with that, we're gonna have to let it go and continue tomorrow. So we're gonna wait, watch, and see what KGC does in the future. So right now, there you have it. Every day and every way we get better and better. Every day and every way we grow more prosperous, successful, and victorious. And God's love continues to surround us and follow us on the right.